Want to speak real French from your first lesson? Sign up for your free lifetime account at FrenchPod101.com.
Hey everyone, welcome back for more French. It's Pierre from France, and today's lesson will be about three words: déjà, encore, toujours. Three adverbs that are often difficult to translate into English when you don't know the rules. So, without further ado, let's get started. I forgot the accent here. So, three categories: déjà, encore, and toujours. Déjà is something that you can translate in two different ways, like even three. Like the first meaning of déjà in French is like in the meaning of already or yet. It would depend if it's a question or if it's like positive affirmation. So here, this is the first case. And the second case is like when you translate it with ever or already. So here, you've got two different meanings. And it will depend if it's a question and if it's positive or if it's negative. This is typical with déjà. And this is the case for the two different meanings. So let's start with the first one. Déjà as something that means already or yet. So when you say es-tu déjà arrivé en France? Es-tu déjà arrivé en France? It means like, did you arrive yet? So I don't know why I put en France, but like, es-tu déjà arrivé? Es-tu déjà arrivé? Did you arrive yet? Es-tu déjà arrivé? Did you arrive yet? So here, déjà, it's yet. When you add the question in English and you use yet in the question, you have to translate it by déjà. Did you arrive yet? Es-tu déjà arrivé? But if you want to answer these questions in English, you can say, if like, yeah, you did arrive, you have to say, I have already arrived. So you use already. That's why you put already here. But if you didn't arrive yet, you use, as I just said, yet. But in English, it's a bit different than in French, because here in French, you have to use déjà for the positive one. So in English, you change, you use yet arrived, and in French, it's the same. But in English, you use yet like in the questions, but in French, you have to use something different. You have to use one of those two, encore or toujours, but with the negative form. Je ne suis pas encore arrivé. Liaison. Je ne suis toujours pas arrivé. So it means like I have not arrived yet. This is the same meaning. Pas encore and toujours pas, it's almost the same meaning. So be careful with that. The opposite of déjà in French is pas encore or toujours pas. I will explain later the real difference between encore and toujours. But for now, just remember that one of the opposite of déjà, in the case when you use déjà as yet or already, the opposite is pas encore or toujours pas. So be careful with that. So this was the first meaning of déjà, like already or yet. But there is another meaning, which is like ever or already. Again, you can see already. So when you ask in English, have you ever been to France? Have you ever been to France? You can say, yeah, I have already been to France, or no, I have never been to France. So let's get started with the question and the negative one. As you can see in English, to show that it's negative, you add the N at ever. Have you ever been to France? I have never been to France. But in French, we don't have a word for ever. We just say déjà. Es-tu déjà allé en France? And for never, it's easy to translate. You just use jamais. It's like never is always jamais in French. So here you ask the question, es-tu déjà allé en France? I forgot the verb here. Es-tu déjà allé en France? Es-tu déjà allé en France? Es-tu déjà allé en France? Have you ever been to France? So déjà, ever, as a question. But if you want to answer like the positive way, like you want to say, yes, I have already been to France, you have to use, again, the same one. Je suis déjà allé en France. But the negative form would be jamais. So here, we've seen that déjà, like when you use a question or like a positive sentence, you use the same, you use déjà. But like the opposite form of déjà, the negative form, would be different depending on the meaning of the déjà. So if it's like the meaning of already yet, it's pas encore or toujours pas. But if it's the meaning of ever or already, the negative form is jamais. So please be careful. The negative form depends on the real meaning. In French, you cannot put like a negative form of déjà with just pas. You have to choose between one of these two, or one of this one, jamais, or pas encore. So déjà, again, two meanings, and depending on the meanings, different negative form. So this is all for déjà. But that's déjà suffisant. It's enough, right? C'est déjà suffisant. It's already enough. Next one, encore. Encore, like many meanings. Three meanings. Encore can, like one of the meaning is again. So when you say il est encore en retard, it means like, oh, he is late again. So here, encore, again. So this is the positive form. And the negative form is like in English, you just put he is not late again. You just put the negation, and in French it's the same. Il n'est pas encore en retard. But be careful, because here, when you see the sentence il n'est pas encore en retard, it's not the same pas encore. Je ne suis pas encore arrivé. So be careful with this. Like this sentence, when you see il n'est pas encore en retard, you have two meanings. This meanings or this meaning. So be careful, like with just this sentence you cannot guess the meaning, but with the context you can guess the meaning. So be careful, because this pas encore can be the opposite form of encore, but also the opposite form of déjà. So be careful with this. Il est encore en retard, he is late again. Usually you don't use this form a lot, but it exists, so be careful. Usually when you see pas encore, it's mainly this meaning, so just to let you know. Usually the more common sentence with encore, like the positive form, is this one. This one, not a lot, like even in English, he is not late again. You don't use that a lot, but you can say it. So here, encore en retard, he is late again. This is a kind of uneasy meaning, right? Let's move on to the next one. Encore, when it means another or more. Like if you want more coffee, je veux encore du café. I want more coffee. I want more coffee. I didn't put the English translation here because I have no space, but je veux encore du café. I want more coffee. Je veux encore du café. Here, more is encore. But here, there is another way to translate encore. Here, when you say je veux encore une tasse de café, you use another. I want another cup of coffee. So here, encore, it's like another or more. What is the difference between this? It's because in English you have like countable and uncountable objects. Like a cup of tea, you cannot count it. You can count it, but like coffee, you cannot count it. So in English, it's more when you count the object, and when you can't count the object is another. But luckily in French, for once, we have something that is easier than in English. No, here it's like just encore for in the two situations. So you don't bother. Another and more, it's like encore. No matter if you can count or not the object. Je veux encore du café. Je veux encore une tasse de café. But what is the negative form of that? This is, like in English, like not anymore. Like, I want more coffee, or I don't want coffee anymore. Like more anymore. In English, like in French, it's like you use a completely different noun, like adverb. It's plus. Je ne veux plus. Plus, it's always coupled with ne. Like it's one of the negations. Like usually the negation is ne pas in English or in French. Ne pas. Je ne veux pas travailler. Ne pas. But there is also other negations like with jamais or with plus. So plus, it means like not anymore. So if you want to translate not anymore, not, it's like ne, and plus anymore. Je ne veux plus de café. So I want more coffee. I don't want, I want more coffee. I don't want coffee anymore. Je veux encore du café. Je ne veux plus de café. So what about the case where, like you say, I don't want another cup of coffee? Like in French, you have to say je ne veux plus d'une tasse de café. But the meaning is a bit different. If you say je ne veux plus d'une tasse de café, it means that you change your mind. Je ne veux plus une tasse de café. So here there is this distinction between like countable and uncountable objects. So just remember this one. Je veux encore du café. If you cannot count the object, like I want more, you say I don't want any more. I want more, I don't want any more. So this is only the negative form. This meaning is only for objects that you cannot count. But for an object that you can count, like the meaning, if you use je ne veux plus d'une tasse de café, you have to put the D. Je ne veux plus d'une tasse de café. It means like you usually like you want it, but now you don't want anymore. So this is kind of subtle. Be careful with that. But remember, like je veux encore for countable object, for uncountable objects, the negative form is plus, like in English, more, not anymore. Encore, ne plus. So this was one of the meaning, and another meaning is encore plus, or encore moins. It means like even more or even less. So if you want to say like it's even more interesting, you say c'est encore plus intéressant. C'est encore plus intéressant. It's even more interesting. And if you want to use like the opposite form, like this is the positive one, you can use also the negative one. So if you want to say it's even less expensive, c'est encore moins cher. Encore moins cher. So this is like encore, here it's even. And plus it's like more, and moins it's like less. C'est encore plus, it's even more. C'est encore moins, it's even less. So this one is kind of easy, no tricks with this one. Like encore, it's just even. Those two ones, no tricks. Like encore again or encore even. Here there is like this nuance, like just one word for two words in English. So here it's for encore. And as you can see, there is also this situation where, like when you use the negative form of encore, sometimes it's this one, but more like in the most, like usually it's more this meaning, like the opposite form of déjà. So it's like not yet. So here you see that encore, 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 but pas encore, which is the negative form, like not, like pas encore, pas encore. One of the translation is not yet. So I'm gonna add it. Pas encore. It means sometimes, and in most cases, it means not yet. So this is one of the other meaning of encore. But sometimes pas encore, it means also not again. So you have to be careful of the meaning of the sentence. So that was for encore. Again, another or more, even, and sometimes not yet when there is pas before encore. So let's move on to the next one, toujours. Toujours, first meaning is kind of easy. It means always. Toujours as always. So if you want to say je suis toujours en retard, like in English is like I'm always late. In English, the negative form would be like the opposite of always is never. So you want to say in French, you just use the opposite form of toujours, which is jamais. Never, we've seen that before. Jamais, never. So here you can see that jamais is in the same time the opposite form of toujours, but also the opposite form of déjà. So usually the classic form of jamais, the classic counterpart of jamais is toujours. But jamais is always translated by never in English. In this case it's never, and here again it's never. So, je ne suis jamais en retard, like en retard, saying je ne suis jamais en retard. But you can also say je ne suis pas toujours en retard, and the difference between je ne suis jamais en retard and je ne suis pas toujours en retard is the same than in English when you say like like I am never late or I am not always late. Like I am never late, like it means no way that can happen, it never happened before. Like I'm never late. And you can say like I'm not always late, like sometimes, but it's not always. So like exactly the same meaning in like the difference between the two. So here, depending on the meaning, the real opposite, the real negation that you want to use, you have to choose between jamais or pas toujours, but it's the same than in English when you have to choose between never or not always. So here, it's an easy one, really easy one. Then there is another one which is encore, toujours, toujours, encore. Like here, you can substitute toujours with encore, again, like same than here, and you have to translate it by still. So here, still, when you want to use, like, you want to say, I am still here, I am still here. You can say, je suis encore là, or je suis toujours là. So here it's like, this one is belonging to the two categories, so toujours and encore. Je suis encore là, je suis toujours là. It's roughly the same meaning. It's exactly the same than here, pas encore, toujours pas. Encore, toujours, like it's roughly the same meaning. And here, it's yet, and here, it's still. So be careful. Je suis encore là, je suis toujours là. Je ne suis plus là is the negative form of this, like two positive form, but just one negative form. And again, it's like here, it's like not anymore. So when you want to say, I am still here, in English, you want to do the opposite. So you want to say, I am not here anymore. And in French, je ne suis plus là. So plus, again, even though, like plus you can see here and here, like the negative form of encore, but also the negative form of toujours in some cases. But like, it's not always the same cases, because here encore means like another or more, and here it means like still. But in English, it's kind of easy because in both cases, like je ne veux plus de café, I don't want coffee anymore. Je ne suis plus là, I'm not here anymore. So like this one is easy because plus is always like ne plus, ne plus, ne plus is always not anymore. So this one, it's not a problem. Plus is always the same translation. It's like jamais, it's always never. So like the negative forms is not that complicated to translate. What is important is all the meanings of the words here. And then you have to know the opposite form, but it's like in English usually. So here we've seen that toujours, two different cases, and also I didn't put it back here, but here you have another meaning with toujours, which is like not yet. So toujours, three meanings. Always, still, or if it's negative, not yet. But if it's negative, it's sometimes also not always. So, let's sum it up. Toujours, you can translate it by always, or still, and pas toujours, which is the negative form, you can translate it by not always, or not yet. Toujours pas. Okay? So here, you've seen that we can use encore and toujours in this case. And here again, pas encore, toujours pas. Please note that pas is not in the same place, depending of the adverb, encore and toujours. Pas encore, toujours pas. So here, you have two different, like, it's almost synonym. Two cases, two adverbs that you can use, but just one situation. So you can wonder if there is a nuance, and there is a nuance. So here, usually, when you use toujours pas, so I'm just talking about the negative one. When you say toujours pas instead of pas encore, it's stronger, like you emphasize what you're saying. Usually it's the same, but if you want to say je ne suis pas encore arrivé, it means like, oh, okay, like someone asks you like, where are you? And you say, oh, je ne suis pas encore arrivé, like I've not arrived yet, so I'm still not here. But if you want to say je ne suis toujours pas arrivé, it can mean something more stronger, like you're tired or you have like a plaintive tone, like like I'm still not here, like I have struggles with the subway or something like that. So when you say toujours pas, it's a bit more like you're not satisfied with the situation, like you're not here and you're not satisfied with that. So usually like the most common one is always encore, like you use encore. This is more common, but if you want to see like if you want to sound more plaintive, you can use toujours pas instead. And if you hear someone saying that, maybe it would be more plaintive, but it's not always the case. Like it's really subtle, and usually, like we don't really pay attention to the real nuance between those two. So this is the case when this is negative. Toujours pas, it's like stronger than pas encore, and maybe more plaintive. But here is another one. When you want to say j'ai toujours faim, you can also say j'ai encore faim. As I said, here it's the same, like je suis encore là, je suis toujours là. Here, like it's the same. I'm using this toujours and this encore. I'm using this one. So j'ai toujours faim or j'ai encore faim. It means like I am still hungry. But be careful, because just for this one, j'ai toujours faim, you can also translate it by I'm always hungry. It depends on the meaning. So here you have two meanings. This one, with only j'ai toujours faim, you have two meanings. But this one, j'ai encore faim, you have only one meaning, like I am always hungry. So I'm gonna clarify that. This one you can translate it like this, and for this one, it's only this one. So as you can see here, in English, you have two different meanings. Like you can understand the difference. But in French, j'ai toujours faim, like those two sentences, you can translate them with the same sentence if you use j'ai toujours faim. But if you really want to make the disambiguation, you translate the first one by this one and you translate the second one by this one. But you can also translate the second one with the first one, j'ai toujours faim. So, this is just like to make you more attentive to this possibility. But here I want to explain the nuance between encore and toujours. So, I am using j'ai toujours faim as I am still hungry. So let's say we don't care about I am always hungry, because it's not like the meaning that is interesting here. Let's say that I want to say j'ai toujours faim Not as I am always hungry, but as I am still hungry. What is the difference between j'ai toujours faim and j'ai encore faim? I am still hungry. Two ways to say it in French. And to be honest, there is no real nuance between this. J'ai toujours faim, or I am still hungry, j'ai encore faim, j'ai toujours faim. It's roughly the same meaning. But here, maybe one subtlety would be, like one thing that is subtle is j'ai encore faim. It means like I want more. When you say j'ai encore faim, I want more. But if you say j'ai toujours faim, it means like the situation is still the same. So with like the positive one, toujours, emphasize the fact that the situation is still the same. And here, when you want to say j'ai encore faim, since encore has a meaning of like again or more, like you want something, you want addition. So the subtlety, the nuance would be like with this, you want something, you expect something, you expect an addition. But j'ai toujours faim, it's more like you constating, like you stating that the situation is still the same. So we've seen that toujours, encore, and déjà have many ways to translate. You can translate them in many ways. Déjà, like already, yet, or ever already. And if you want the negative form, it's like pas encore, toujours pas, or jamais. And here, like for encore, you have three meanings, again or another more, like you want addition, like encore like, implies that you want addition. Like encore plus, c'est encore plus intéressant, it's a bit different, like even more. And then for toujours, like there is the always, and there is like still, like which is kind of similar to encore. But there is also this toujours pas that you have to be careful with. Toujours. So here, toujours, please refer to this, and this. And for encore, refer to this, and also this, and this. So that's all for today. I hope you understood the differences between those three adverbs. If you really like this video, you can click on the like button and subscribe to our channel. And you can also leave a comment in the comment sections down below. If you want some more resources on French learning, you can go to on our website like FrenchPod 101. This is a really good website to get more resources and improve your French. So I hope you like it, and see you on next time. But as you see, here